What is a person if not their behavior? I was recently asking a question from someone as to what makes a person. What makes a person? What is a person made out of? Their values. That is what a person is truly made out of. Their value points. Their standards of being, not living, but being a human being. Do they have any virtues in life? Things that take others into consideration. So what I am suggesting here is the importance of cultivating and developing a virtuous character, which is absolutely essential for the spiritual path. For just, even if the person does not feel comfortable with the word spiritual, still, just as a decent human being, we need to have values. If we hang around people who do not have values, well, that will be impacting us, our lives, our relationships, our well-being, our finances. So one of the best ways that humanity has figured out to gauge as to whether a person has values is when someone is identified via or through their friends, their accompaniment, the people that they hang around, the people that inspire them, the people that they consider to be not just acquaintances, but individuals that are part and parcel of their lives. So you don't necessarily need to probe that much to understand what the person's values are. All you have to do is just look at their friends and the behaviors. So not taking the person's words as to this is how I am, this is what my likes and dislikes are, this is the upright citizenship that I have, in my community, this and that. My character is there. All those things might be true, but those pale in importance when one looks at the person's friends, acquaintances, which are direct. There is a direct correlation, there is a direct connection with that individual's value system, i.e., who they are. So this is one thing. The other thing that I wanted to share some thoughts on involves the experience of Nibbāna or Nirvana. For some time now, not just in the West, everywhere in the world I've noticed, there's this anticipation, there's this expectation that if you just be, if you just let things be on their own without doing anything on your part, then you're going to attain liberation, spiritual awakening, bliss. And wonderful things are just going to happen if you just get out of the way without doing any work. So, this is how many people have interpreted, unfortunately, the middle path. Now, as far as the Dhamma is concerned, the Buddha's teachings, you're not going to be stumbling upon Nibbāna by accident without first doing the necessary work diligently and with consistency, by adhering to a virtuous living, which takes us back to the first point I was trying to make. And this adherence to virtuous living has to be supported with ongoing, sincere dedication of the first order. Sincere. So we don't just stumble upon, waltz in, lackadaisically just going into this realm of Nibbāna, whatever it is that mistakenly some have developed that notion, or saying some words, some mantras, repeating a certain mantra. There needs to be work done. So it's not that easy. I mean, nobody will give you a loaf of bread without working for it. Nobody was going to give you an A in school without working for it. Even McDonald's is not going to give you that $1 meal without you reaching into your pocket and handing them that single dollar. So, without running the risk of trivializing, the wonderful gifts that the Dhamma keeps on showering upon a person who is working on it and is diligent and heedful, I want to also touch upon the importance of disenchantment and dispassion. This or these are very important states. One pours into the other. One overflows into the other. But they don't exist just on their own. They are the result of the work that a person does on their way to Nibbāna. In fact, they're so crucial that without them, awakening or Nibbāna cannot take place. They must precede awakening. Genuine awakening. They're that crucial, that important for Nibbāna to occur. So if a person does not want to relinquish or abandon their infatuation, their strong attachment to their likes and dislikes, they would at the very least be delaying their experience of Nibbāna, despite all the work that they've been doing. If they are holding on to something that they think is sacrosanct and cannot be let go of, it doesn't fall into the category of other things, for example. Now, of course, becoming a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni, or living a more demanding lifestyle where starting with the Buddha and his Arya Savakas, the Arahants. Initially, when it started, it was, in a sense, taking a more aggressive, if you will, attitude towards speeding up the process. That's what I mean aggressive as. It's you're becoming very proactive in bringing forth, inviting, speeding up disenchantment and dispassion, that process to take place. I mean, you can look at becoming a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni in that sense, because there are restrictions that you are imposing upon yourself because of the rules that a monk or a nun have to follow. When previously you didn't. You didn't. But now you are. There's rules of standing, walking, sitting, lying down, eating, going to the bathroom, relating with other human beings, and whom you can relate with, and who you cannot. How? So this puts tremendous strain on an individual who has not lived like that, at least in the beginning stages. But it's not sadistic, it's not like trying to masochistic or anything like that, to force pain and suffering on the person just for that sake. But it is trying to directly and proactively look at those attachments that the person has to different things, to the point where the stages of disenchantment and dispassion can take place sooner than later. Later as in, if the person had just gone the route of being a lay disciple and practiced, whenever they could, this and that, diligently, with heedfulness, practicing sila and practicing meditation and gaining insights, those things do occur. But as a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni, or someone in robes who's not living the life of a lay person, these do occur quicker. That is, not because of the robes, I also have to say. The robes don't make it come faster, these disenchantment and dispassion. Not at all. If the robes are not supported by the lifestyle, which takes us back again to the first point I was trying to make with the importance of virtue, the person's values. So the robes don't necessarily bring that, even though they are there for that reason, mind you. They're there to remind the person to live a different lifestyle, to treat the robes with certain level of austere attitude. With nobility. But that essence of nobility will come from their behavior, from them keeping that crucial element of the 3 trainings, which is sila. So sila must be there whether a person is a lay person or not. And the work has to be there whether a person is a lay person or not. And the right methods have to be applied whether the person is a lay person or not. And with diligence. These lead into each other. They flow into one another. And the person no longer becomes or continues being so attached, if at all, because they will realize the emptiness behind the whole attachment to this thing, because they realize that this is impermanent, this is non-lasting, this is non-enduring, this will die. In fact, before it dies, it's going to go through major changes, erosion, weathering, fading away, you name it. And then it will die. So the work then is supporting the learning and the studying of the teachings. They go hand in hand. And the person's practice constantly, putting the effort, day in, day out, putting the effort. And always checking their behavior, including trimming and chipping off and cutting off those branches, those social branches that they used to hold so dear, of individuals, of characters, whom they had considered to be close friends for some time in their past. However, now their eyes are seeing much better. They can see whether this person actually deserves to be within my circle, because I am my value system. And if this person's value system is no match for mine, in fact it goes contrary to it, then it's ludicrous, crazy for me to continue persuading myself to stay in such a relationship. I don't need to be spinning my wheels, as the saying goes, in the mud of this dreadful relationship, which is suffering. And instead, look at what really makes me happy. In a consistent manner, it delivers that sense of comfort and ease, which is sukha, the opposite of dukkha, which is suffering. And then the person starts taking more responsibility for their own happiness and welfare, and develop the courage to use those trimmers as they trim away those twigs or unnecessary things from their lives and continue on their path, because no one's going to save us if not ourselves. No one is going to do the work for us if not ourselves. And we're definitely not going to be stumbling upon Nibbāna by accident. It's only going to happen with our own effort, diligent, continuous effort. Which comes to support the character that thrives on virtue, on having solid values, of consideration, of love, affection, responsibility, individual responsibility, care for oneself, the world around them, the environment, the planet. Not just looking at the present, but also the future. Being far-sighted as to how my actions that I commit now will unfold in the future, for myself and others. So we start making positive, wholesome kamma, or actions, which can only bring forth positive results in the future. and in the present, in many cases. So I'll stop here.